Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's gonna take my phone a little bit. We'll see if this works. So I can hear you guys for the most part.
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. We
Good
had
to
a
hear.
day off, so
Right on.
can't complain.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, most definitely. I had some stuff planned. I really wanted to get out there instead of doing it today, but we do what we can.
Looking forward to it.
Well, I told them that you would be the first in line to kick us off this evening to tell us a little bit about flood mitigation and the importance of having it be community led.
Yeah, if you
Ruh-roh.
can't hear me now,
Yes.
okay.
Phew.
I might have some dogs in the background. Hopefully they'll quiet down. So what's up?
We love dogs.
You can have mine if you want. There you go. I started my video. So just to introduce myself, my name's John Welch. I'm the regional mitigation coordinator for the Texas Division of Emergency Management. Specifically, I cover BVCOG and CAPCOG region, which encompasses you guys. So tonight, really just wanted to go over like hazard mitigation, kind of find some quick fine points on the program itself, and just some of the main criteria that you guys have to meet in order to be eligible, and some of the projects and grants that are available. If you guys want, I'll kind of go through it, and then if you've got questions at the end, more than willing to answer them. If we have some issues, if you want to type them out. Also, you guys have my contact information, so if anybody there would like it, I'm sure you can get with the mayor and either send me an email or my phone number's there. So more than welcome to talk to anybody. So first, looking at hazard mitigation, it kind of goes in line with what the name says. You're looking to mitigate natural disasters. That's kind of the main thing on how this works. So our funding comes from FEMA. So when we look at these grants that are available, these are FEMA grants that are available, and basically the state is the applicant. And the region, whether it be the county or in your guys' case, the city, would be considered the sub-applicant. So we help like manage the grant and go through the formal application process with FEMA. So in order to be eligible for these grants, there's really two main things that you have to have. You have to first have a approved hazard mitigation plan. And I looked up right now, currently your guys' county is expired, but I know they're working on one right now. So hopefully you guys are a part of that process right now. So
yeah, we have a meeting on the 4th.
Great.
With the county.
Yeah, so and then the next requirement is that any project that you apply a grant for, that project has to be listed in that plan. Now, it doesn't have to be like a specific project. So you don't necessarily have to say, we want to do this exact, say, flood mitigation project on Main Street. All you have to do in that plan as an action, say, just flood mitigation projects for the city. It can be something as generic as that. And that gives you leeway to, as you see problems come up, or maybe you might have a couple of different of those projects, it allows you to apply for those. So really, those are your two main things that you have to have.
Oh no.
Going to the grant. So right now, there used to be two main grants, the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program and the BRIC, Building Resiliency Infrastructure Communities. Now, with the new administration, the BRIC program went away. That was an annual grant that would come out that you could apply for. With that one being gone, now all you have is the hazard mitigation grants. Now there's a post-fire grant under that, and then there's the regular hazard mitigation grant. The post-fire grant is an annual grant. We have one open right now, and it's hazard mitigation grant. Those come about, they're tied directly to disasters. So this most recent flooding disaster we have, there is a possibility that there will be grant funds available. Now, it used to be automatic. As soon as you had a nationally declared disaster, they would set up that grant. It takes the president to release those funds. As of right now, we don't have any word if those funds are going to be released. With that being said, developing these projects that you would like to apply for, that really should be an ongoing thing. You know, it kind of a part of creating your plan. You should be looking at these projects that you guys are interested in and really start developing those scope of works, those project concepts before the applications you even know about it. It helps you guys get a little bit ahead of the curve in order to do that. Now, talking about specific types of projects that you guys can do. So going back, we have to look at natural disasters. So some of the major projects that can be funded are warning sirens, any type of drainage or erosion control. Those are big ones. Generators, those have been 2 years since COVID. Those have been some really big projects. Those are kind of our big ones. Fuel mitigation is another one. So if you have kind of heavily forested areas or anything that you may want to look at potential fire risk, there is projects that can be done. Bastrop County has cracked the code on doing fuels mitigation projects. So if that's something your community thinks might need some attention, I would highly suggest, and I can help facilitate some discussion with Bastrop County on how they do things and being able to look at that. So that's really a real quick overview, because there's just so many fine details that can go into mitigation. It's mainly just the thing with mitigation is everybody, it's one of those forgotten about things that you know, cities and counties have so many competing demands with funds and you know, personnel time and being able to develop projects. But on the flip side, part of mitigation planning is you know, financial responsibility. So when we go through and develop these projects, FEMA always looks, they want to see that the money being put in has a value. So every project has to have at a minimum a $1-for-$1 ratio. So for every dollar put in, it's going to save $1 on the backside. That's the minimum. FEMA would love to see a $1 to $6 ratio. So for every dollar you put in, you're saving $6. Now, it's not necessarily a dollar amount, because a lot of things can't be quantified. You know, if you're setting something up to, you know, save lives or save property, there may not be a dollar amount in there, especially with a life. There's no dollar amount that you can put on that. So FEMA looks at those things. One other project, this goes, it can help the smaller communities. So you can actually build a tornado safe room. And those rooms can be considered multi-purpose rooms. So you can use it for other sort of things. We have projects going on right now with colleges throughout Texas that are building these safe rooms. They're dome structures, but when they're not used as a tornado shelter, or they're technically not a shelter, it's just a tornado safe room because it's not a long-term sleeping area, they use them for whatever. You can have meetings, you can some have basketball gyms in them, so they use them for community events, things like that. Now with the hazard mitigation grant program, the split 75% of a project, and the community will be responsible for the other 25%. So that is some substantial, help to a community. One of the drawbacks is hazard mitigation grants tend to take a while to go through and to get approved and get authorized. But if they're paying 75% of the project, that could be a huge amount of savings. So that's really the big parts of it. I will open it up to the floor if you guys have any questions.
What would be an example of a project that would return $6 to every $1?
So really, it just depends on the project and what it is mitigating. So there's no saying one project is this or that. So you would look at, say, if we want to take a generator, let's say, and we're going to hook up this generator to the fire station so that it has continued power no matter what the situation. So with that being said, that means they can operate during any type of emergency, even if power goes out, right? So that means they're able to respond at any time. So I can't tell you exactly how much they're gonna be able to save, but they're gonna have services available for anything. So even if it's, say, a little fire, well, how much are they able to save on damage, or are they able to save a life or multiple lives because they have power? I can't put a dollar amount on that. Now, FEMA has a calculator they use. It's called the benefit cost analysis. So that's one way you can kind of try and quantify it. However, any project under $1 million doesn't require that BCA, and basically they require a
We'll never know.
explain the benefit to the community with this project. So there could be some quantifiable numbers in that, or like, for example, that generator project that you can't really quantify it, but they're able to have, emergency services to protect life and property at times when there might be very vital to have during an emergency like that. So that's kind of how you have to explain that.
So mitigation is usually trying to prevent or lessen damage for people and for the environment. So for the environment, one of the things we've been talking about for a while now is the erosion around the river, and different ways to deal with that, because we've got it at all of the major public entrances to water in one form or another. And we are concerned about that because every time we've had big rains this spring, it's gotten worse. So, that would be a mitigation project, wouldn't it? If we were to come up with a plan to kind of control the erosion around the sides and maybe even working on rebuilding the riparian zone and that kind of thing. Do those count as that, or dealing better with storm waters and the runoff?
Yeah, so erosion is definitely a valuable authorized project. You have to always be careful blurring that line between mitigation and maintenance. So FEMA is really big on, they're not going to do maintenance for you. So let's say you have your city's has drainage, right? Let's say it's got drainage throughout it, but it needs to be cleaned out. FEMA won't pay for that. That's just considered maintenance. Now, if you have drainage that has had an engineer study it and says, hey, look, this drainage can't handle the amount of water that's being, ran through here. We need to redo it. We need to increase culvert size. We need to do this, do that. That is okay. They just don't deal with maintenance. So erosion, as long as it's not a maintenance issue, they're good with erosion projects. I have some literature and some things I can send you about erosion projects that might help kind of give you an idea if later on you have areas that you really want to look at. I'm more than willing to come down and we can go look at those sites and think about setting up a project and getting ahead of it now, getting it set up so that when a grant does come available, you've got the meat and potatoes ready to go. You'll just have to do a little bit more, some paperwork and some budgeting stuff. But
Okay. Anybody else? Questions, comments, thoughts, ideas?
I have one for John. Sam Clinton on the city council. In the 2015 flood of Wimberley on the Blanco River, it brought a lot of debris down the San Marcos River and to Martindale. I have some land on the river, and so the Blanco County River Authority helped clean that up. So that's sometimes, could you talk a little bit how counties that are adjacent, how they work together on mitigating damage?
so debris in waterways is one of the that's one of those topics that is really difficult because there's so many people that have control of it. So like if you're talking about say let's say a little stream or river goes through somebody's property, right? Well, so they technically own the ground underneath it, but the water, they don't actually own the water. So it's the Texas River Authority, or depending on the body of water, it could be the Corps of Engineers owns that. So when we're looking at cleanup for that, that really goes into, it doesn't really hit into mitigation. That's really more of our recovery people. And that thing gets so crazy trying to deal with those sort of issues from a storm, because we get that a lot. It starts way downstream and it ends up here, somebody that might not even been affected by the storm as much. And now they're having to deal with that aftermath. I know that that's one of those topics where you have to wait for it to happen and find out who owns what and who's involved.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question, Laura, because, like he said, that our Caldwell County hazard mitigation plan was expired. So who is the lead on that?
Caldwell County, and they hired Langford. Langford got a grant for them for $500,000 to spend a year rewriting that plan. So it'll go from 2025 to 2030.
So how long has it been expired?
It expired in 2025.
I will get you the exact date. 1 second, I had it pulled up. And just 1 second, because I looked at that so it expired July 22nd of this year.
So it's the county that has Langford to do it.
Now,
you mean-
with that plan,
The fourth.
so there is a slight little bit of leeway. So let's take right now as a great example, right? So you guys don't have an approved plan right now, but there is a grant that's available that is due in November, right? So you guys could actually apply for that grant if you have a project that you want. Now, once it gets approved by FEMA, you have 1 year from that date to have a fully approved hazard mitigation plan. So realistically, it's gonna take at least a year for that application to go through, if not more. So we say usually a plan takes anywhere from a year to 2 years, kind of depends on the size of the jurisdiction, how many jurisdictions are involved. So if you guys did want to say apply for this November grant, I fully believe you guys will have an approved plan before they even approve that project. So that's kind of a way they give you a little bit of leeway dealing with that. So you don't technically have to have an approved plan to apply.
Any others?
But you did mention for the hazard mitigation plan that is in the works, we already have a grant for that from the Resilient. But that wasn't from,
That's separate.
no, this is a separate
Mhm,
grant, okay.
Yeah,
This is separate.
Okay,
it is confusing. They all use the same words.
Yeah,
Any
you
other-
guys, it looks like they used the general land office grant. So that's actually a really good program that they have for the general GLO. They'll provide up to $100,000 and it's 100%. Instead of the 75-25, they give you 100% reimbursement of all the funds. So that's pretty good.
Anything else before we let John wrap up? All right. Well, thank you so much for kind of giving us an overview of that. We're hoping to get some ideas tonight that we can bring to the meeting next week for Caldwell County and start talking to them about projects that they have in mind.
Okay, great. If you need anything else, again, you've got my contact information.
Yeah.
Please feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, John.
Thank you all.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Deanna, will you check with, Chief Tommy and find out that he is in the middle of a training or he would be here in person? I just want to know, should we put him in line next and just have him do his thing so he can get back to his training, or does he have time? Okay, so Mr. Welch, he was working with us last year too about some of these things, and he did come down and look at our erosion at that point, but I feel like it's gotten worse in this last year. I know several other people have started bringing it up to me about the difficulty getting access into from Allen Bates or from phase one, but especially Allen Bates, that it's gotten kind of dangerous even to try to get there, and people are making new pathways and things. So I do feel like that's a project we do need to get going on. The other thing I was going to mention is that, there have been so many conversations around the topic of Skulls Crossing and that it's not a park, or is it a park, or what's going on with it and what are we doing? And I don't have the authority to say any of that. That's a council conversation. However, I have talked with, Turk and, Freeland, our engineers, and we met with Caldwell County's, one of their commissioners and one from Guadalupe County, and just said, hey, look, this is kind of a mess. It's a safety risk all over the place from multiple angles, and we need help trying to figure out how to resolve it. We've had Turk and Freeland working on I don't know, various designs and configurations of what could we do to make it safe for pedestrians and for people that have boats that are trying to put their canoes or kayaks in the water or whatever the situation is. And then we've got issues when it does flood of all of the people that get stuck on one side or the other, because that is a low crossing and so is the one over here. So we are trying to figure out how to deal with that particular intersection when it's not flooding and when it is flooding. I think our best answer for when it is flooding right now is Chief Tommy has indicated that he would like to get he knows the names of them. I'll ask him to tell you the name of it. But you know the big metal close off things that you like just lock the gates. And so he wants to do those at both of the little water crossings, or I think there's 3 of them. And so he wants to do them at all 3. And he said, that way we can be assured that people are, I know, right? Like 70 miles an hour down Main Street. So we can be at least rest assured that people aren't going to be trying to pass and get downriver. So we are going to be investing in those in terms of the hazard mitigation, because when it's time, you don't need to be worried about people deciding to take it into their own hands as to whether or not the water's gone down enough, whether or not it's safe to cross yet. So it'll just be locked and we'll have to deal with it that way.
Keep this ready for winter.
Okay, so let's go ahead and have Chief Ward go ahead and talk to us, because then he can get back to his training. Hello.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know if y'all can see me or not, but I can see y'all. I just heard what the mayor said. She was at, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just heard what the mayor said, and we talked about that. I already got some quotes for those barriers, those metal barriers, those pipe barriers. We want to put,
That's the name.
we want to put 2 of those at Skull Road, 1 on either end, so that no one will circumvent it. And then 1 at Johnson Street, on the Johnson Street. So that'll be the 3 we're looking at. I got a quote from one person. I'm getting a quote from a second person. So we'll have just some varying quotes to see what it would cost to do that. It looks like it's just a couple of $1,000s. I know that's a lot of money for the city, but I think it's well worth it. Right now, currently, we just have physical barricades that we use. We would have to pull down there, and anyone can go move those at any time and go around it. And they would go around it before, if they see the water's down below the bridge, they'll just move them and go across the bridge. Well, that bridge probably hadn't been inspected and it may not be safe. We don't know what the water or anything that may have struck it or anything. So that's what we're looking at doing as far as that goes. I apologize because I'm in training. I wanted to be there tonight. We're in training for the state requires us to go to active shooter training, and just so happens, y'all saw on the news, a real bad active shooter happened today in Minneapolis. So we're learning how to contend with or deal with a situation like that. Hopefully it never happened in our area, but we have to be trained on that. On the sirens, our flood sirens, flood and tornado sirens, because they have a couple of sounds, they are working right now as we speak. What the mayor and I have discussed is probably doing a test on the first Thursday of the month at about 6 p.m. And the reason for that, a lot of the other cities do it at noon. The mayor and I discussed doing it in the evening where everyone is home. Probably the children are home and they'll all know what that sounds like. You won't be away at work. The kids won't be away at school. They'll be there in the evening when it goes off, and we'll be able to let everyone know what it sounds like. Actually, Friday, I don't know if the mayor's going still yet. We haven't discussed this. Haven't seen her in a couple of days, but I'm going to the Regional Warning and Alert Strategy Practicum in Austin, and they may give me some more pointers on how to do these warnings, these alert sirens, alerts, the siren alerts for tornadoes, for floods. I want everyone to know what the difference is. If we set one off, I don't want someone running outside if a tornado is coming. And if there's a flood, what we're going to do. Right now, we have a plan. I'm going to work with the county and do reverse 911. A lot of this goes into what the county's plan is. We have to piggyback off the county's plan. We really can't have our own plan. We have to do theirs, but we can sort of have our own plan, but they're going to put it all in writing in their master plan so that we have one county master plan. Right now, if there's a flood, I've worked with Three Rivers Church. We can all meet there and I can account for everyone. We need to account for everyone that's on that river so that we know that we don't have to go search a particular house. We know that that person was removed from that house. They self-evacuated or whatever the case may be. We have limited resources. So that's the way that we need to try to handle that. That's where we are. That's my plan. If anyone has any other suggestions on what we want to do with the sirens, I think if someone has a better suggestion, please tell me. I'll listen to anything. If someone wants to email me and let me know, but that's what the mayor and I discussed at this point to do and probably be effective for everyone to hear.
Hey, Chief, somebody did bring up a very good question, before this and was asking, what can we do about the people that are in between? There's that zone in between our two sirens where it was either quiet or they couldn't hear it. It's primarily on River Road because we've had people check in from all of the other neighborhoods, but there is that one down area. So I know you probably don't have an answer off the top of your head, but that needs to go on our list of things to figure out, is how we're going to make sure that everyone has gotten a hold of some way to know when it's time.
Correct. When we do the first test, I think you and I did talk about this. When we do the first test, we want to reach out to several people and let everyone know we're doing the test ahead of time. And then I'll have every officer we have there in strategic locations so we can make sure that everyone is hearing it. That's what we want to do. If it comes that we need another siren somewhere, I just listened to the guy talk about grants for that. So maybe we can look at that and expand our siren system.
Yeah.
So right now,
Okay.
maybe our first test, we'll just use all the citizenry to say, hey, you know what, this is where I can hear it. This is where I can't, and get everybody involved.
Yep, absolutely. All right, questions? Yes.
So is the first test gonna be on September 4th? Like, that's the first Thursday of September, so.
That's what I'm thinking right now. I will learn more on Friday and we'll inform everyone on the website. We'll make sure that everyone's getting plenty of notice and ample notice when the tests are going to happen.
Okay, because we were out of town when it was tested, so I don't know, but my people that live near me said that you couldn't really hear it. It was quiet even outside.
So Vinny said the same thing. There was
So I think
them.
we can already, I think we already, I mean, we can test it again, but I think we already know that we need another siren, at least one, probably one.
Can I say something about that first time it went off where it really didn't go off for any length of time? It went off and I know it probably sounded and scared everyone, because we weren't expecting it to go off like that, but it didn't go off for the length of time that it needs to go off so that people could probably hear it. It's basically a loud siren on a 10 horsepower motor that spins around in a circle, and it gets louder as it spins and goes longer. So it really didn't have time to wind all up.
That makes sense. Other questions or comments or thoughts? Yes, Sonia?
I wanted to ask, like on the paper I see on here, like about the volunteer citizens flood action team, but why isn't there a coordinated effort with Martindale Fire Department?
There can be. That's what we're here to plan tonight. Absolutely.
Cause I just didn't see them anywhere.
Yeah,
listed on here.
they're not right now,
But
but
they-
that's because tonight was the chance for us to talk about it and brainstorm what we would like to do. And if that's what we would like to do, then let's do it. I'm all over it. We'll get in here. We'll do it.
Okay, so I do have another question. So, who is, I don't know if this is for Tanya or who this is for, but
Sure.
who is the person that makes the call that we're in a flood emergency and then sends all that out, and where are they getting their information from to make that?
It's an excellent question.
It's the chief of police.
Yes.
So it
I
was
really-
it was the judge, it was
Hold on.
the judge
I think
though?
he was gonna answer.
Okay, go ahead.
So I keep track of the weather, and I have Texas Division of Emergency Management can send me weather forecast. I'm also getting with and I've gotten with the San Marcos Emergency Management, because our flood's coming down from San Marcos. So we can watch it, and we know the times, how long it would take for that flood water to move from point A to point B. And so we'll know when we can set those sirens off and give people ample time to evacuate. Does that make
And
sense?
you also said that you are, you track from Wimberley too, right?
Correct. We track the San Marcos River and the Blanco River because they're both coming in, and they merge, and y'all know where they merge. But we just got to watch that water, and it's all timed, and they know how many CFS, cubic feet per second, that water's traveling, and how long it'll take to get to Martindale. So what we're constantly watching those. I get weather alerts every single day, believe it or not, about stuff.
And if you're on vacation,
Thank you. That's my question.
yeah,
So I have our guys. We have the radio, and the mayor knows where it's at. It's actually right back in the police department, right there behind you guys. And that radio is the radio that sets off the flood siren.
but I mean, there will be a designated person to make that determination if you happen to be out of pocket.
And we constantly coordinate with Hector Randall with the county so that the county is involved in all of it, and in any evacuation, any siren decisions, that kind of thing. It's very,
Mhm.
what do you call this?
Coordinated.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, just to clarify though, like, this rests on one person
No,
right?
we have a
making the person who declares the emergency and sets the sirens off.
Well, there is one person, I mean, only one person can hold the walkie-talkie or the siren turner oner, and that would be the chief. But like I was saying, it's a very coordinated effort at the county level, as well as with our police department and the fire department. It's not a one person's just gonna decide we're having an emergency or we're not. It'll be a whole plan.
But can't the county from the 911 services, don't they have authority to where they could also
Mhm,
do the sirens? It's not only one person here.
Right.
The county also can.
That's what I'm saying. It is all integrated, the county and the city. It's all integrated. So yes, the county can do, it is not just one person. The county can do it, and chief is the person who holds the walkie-talkie thing for us. But he is not the only person who can do it. And in fact, I believe chief was saying that, they can also do it backup from our police officers' radios now, because they've just replaced the radios with ones that coordinate with the same frequency as the sirens. But on the other hand, don't worry, no one's gonna like trip and turn on the siren. And it's not like that
I
either.
think probably where your concern's coming from, and I don't mean to interrupt you, is the whole Kerrville thing with the judge is out of pocket, nobody can reach the judge, and therefore
No,
Whatever the
Well,
situation was with
Born
that,
and
right?
raised in Fertile. So what happened was there was 3 people that, like what you're saying, oh, we have the county person, we have the city person, and we have this other person. All 3 people were unavailable.
Ah,
That's
okay.
where I'm going with all of
And it was the middle of the night, everybody was.
Right.
it. So one person
Right.
was sleeping, that was the sheriff,
Mm-hmm,
one person was on vacation, and one person was sick.
that's right.
So you had 3 people on that team that were supposed to put the, whatever, flood emergency out, and they were all unavailable. So
Can I respond to
I'm
that a little
not
bit?
feeling comfortable with it just being like, we just need to learn from that.
So can I respond to that a little bit? So
Of
what
course.
we've done is right now, currently, we have the one radio that controls those. And I put a sign on it, do not touch. It's back in the back where we know where that radio's at. The emergency management people, there's 2 right there for the county. They have access to our office. The mayor has access to our office. She lives like jogging distance down the road.
But she doesn't know.
No, but I'm saying we're working. What happened is the county just transitioned over to a whole new radio system, and we're working with them to see if they can also set it off from the county's site in Lockhart. Right now, that can't happen. But right now, we're prepared with what we have. That we have more than just us 4 officers, the fire chief, and the 2 emergency management people be able to set that off. There's more than just one. And so to see what happened with just 3 people, it probably won't. I mean, I can't, heaven forbid it happen in Martindale like that. I have enough people and we've talked about it enough to make sure that that does not happen. And we have not just one person responsible for it. We have a whole myriad of people. Everyone that we have will be responsible to set that thing off if the time comes and if the need comes.
Yeah, we have been having a lot of conversations back and forth with the county on how to set that up and making sure that they are aware where the radio is to cue our sirens, and how to make sure they can get into the police department at all hours, and to make sure that everybody knows where the button, like what button do you push on that thing? We all know it's it's the red line from the old TV shows, the red phone for the nuclear thing, but making sure that you actually can pick it up and like do it if you have to do
Well,
it.
right, versus like flood, but versus.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
So, yeah, no, and in the event, we will have all of that worked out. We are working it out as part of the issue. It's not 100% solid, here it is, because like you said, they just got new radios. Can they do it? We have to test them, blah, blah, blah. And the other thing that is, there is a certain amount of just unnerving unknown, that, the stuff that you just can't know ahead of time. Because if it's a tornado, like you said, you're gonna do an entirely different emergency plan than if it's a flood. And so part of it is getting everybody okay with the stress of an emergency, to know what we're supposed to do, depending on what the problem is. But that's part of why I wanted to talk tonight, is to figure out what are the real stress points, where are the fears, what do we need to be making sure we have accounted for, another siren or whatever. And what can we do ahead of time to make sure that people feel like, okay, it's gonna be scary, but at least I feel like we kind of know what we're doing. And right now we don't. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else. Right now, I don't feel like as a city or as a community, we have a plan. I kind of feel like we're just kind of hanging out and it's gonna happen or it's not. And so I would like us to get to the point where we've had enough conversations that, like, if you guys say, oh my God, what about this? Did anyone think of that? Then we can go, oh, write that down. We need to think about that. So that's why I wanted to get everybody together. And I'm gonna have you guys fill out some maps for me in just a second and tell me where the problem areas are. Because I'm in all these meetings and people that have been here for the floods know exactly the water's gonna come this way. It's gonna go down that way. It's gonna do this, it's gonna do that. Put those down for me tonight while we're here, so we can start getting a plan for, what can we do in advance? What do we just need to have a plan for, but we can't really fix it in advance, right? So, that's what hopefully will get done tonight, or at least get started tonight. Sorry, not done. Tommy, did you have other thoughts to share? And does anyone have questions?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Tommy, Sam Clinton here. You and I have spoken about evacuation centers, and I know in the 2015 flood that the Martindale Baptist Church on 142 was a location for the evacuation center. When will you be willing to reveal anything you've come up with, or will that be something we'll formulate later?
That's you, Chief Ward.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
Unmute.
You may not have heard the question.
There he is. Did you hear
Okay.
Sam's question?
I did hear it. I could hear him.
Okay.
I couldn't unmute myself. Right now I've got with Three Rivers Church, and if we have to evacuate, we're going to evacuate to Three Rivers Church. At that point, we will start accounting for everyone. If we have to do long-term evacuation and housing, we will get with the county and move everyone from Three Rivers Church to whatever facility they have, which would be in Lockhart. But at least we will have everyone accounted for at Three Rivers.
So just to clarify, that's for flood and not for a tornado.
Correct.
Yes.
I'll put it on that one.
Is this Three Rivers?
Yes,
Okay.
where we vote.
Okay.
They're also building an evacuation center in Luling.
Mhm.
Yeah, the county, and it's a very large one. And in fact, I know that Mr. Welch just was talking about we could possibly do some sort of a tornado shelter here. But we have asked, I know under Mayor Glaze, we asked if we could have the monies to build an evacuation place here. And they said since they just funded that giant one in Luling, they weren't interested right now in putting a ton of money for our own separate one. They just sort of figured we would use that one. Yes, ma'am?
In 2015, during the big flood, I got this notification to go to a center in Luling. That place was where people were. Well, I was supposed to evacuate to Luling. Between my house and Luling, there are many water crossings. And
Yeah, that one you talking.
We talked about that. In fact, that was one of the reasons why we ended up with Three Rivers Church, because as we were exploring, we were meeting with Hector Rangel and I'm sorry, I can't think of the other gentleman's name.
Gosh.
And we were looking at maps and talking about where's the best place to have us all be. And one thing that we realized was that there is a creek that overflowed, and so there was water over the top of 142 by the Baptist Church. And then there is also a bunch of the low water crossings on the way to Luling. So even though that's our designated place, it may be difficult to get to Luling. So we were kind of trying to figure out, we end up kind of surrounded by water, but apparently the the Three Rivers Church is a high ground where it hasn't flooded. Yeah, where it hasn't flooded before. So that's why that location was selected. And I think that it's pretty central where people can get to it, I believe. So, yeah, that's kind of where that came from. And we are aware of the low water crossings, and we're trying to figure that one out too, because, there are some things because I don't know. And so we're gonna have to keep talking about it and figuring out on maps and looking at how the water does go and where are the best places for us to gather and make sure that we're all okay. Somebody else, oh, Stephanie.
so we have two sirens right now, right? One's on the water tower, and where's the other one?
It's down by Hermanos, like behind
Oh, that way.
River.
By the other water tower. Oh, got it. Oh, okay. So, oh, wow. Right,
Yeah,
and we're
we went-
smack in the middle, and we
Yes.
couldn't
Yeah.
hear it.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm concerned, we used to live on Bella Vista, and that neighborhood was an island,
Mhm.
you know, because the creek
I've heard
back there.
that. Mhm.
And those residents were helicoptered out in 2015. And if we can't hear it, I'm sure they can't hear
But
it.
they're
So-
not in this account.
I know, but I'm just that they.
They matter.
They are people too. We're gonna have to make a t-shirt.
Well,
They are humans too.
That's a good.
yes, true, I get what you're saying.
I'm teasing. I'm just-
But,
I know.
screw all this up. Anyways, I guess all I'm saying is that yes, they need to be louder and we need more.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about that. And we've talked about, also, just even in Martindale Falls, who can hear it and who can't. And I mean, it's, yeah, because we're spread out long wise.
Yeah.
Even though we're narrow, we're long.
How much is the siren?
10K, right? That's what I heard in a meeting.
I don't know the answer to that. Do you remember? No?
No, it was a grant for the county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
thought, what did he say? Is he still there? I thought he didn't say that he knew how much they were.
do you remember how much the sirens are, Tommy?
I do not, I think they were about 7,000 a piece. I know it costs us about 2,000 to do maintenance on them.
Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking they were more than 7, because for some reason, I'm thinking Mayor Glaze, when she was the mayor, went and made this long email changes to get as much of the history of where the sirens, like got installed and like what was going on with them. And I saw that chain, and it seems like it was like 18,000 that we received from the grant. But maybe that's because it was installing and all of the addition, like maybe the actual siren is 7,000, and then once you install it and do all whatever else has to be done. I don't know, but it seems like the grant was maybe 18,000 total for the two. So we'll have to look into it, because if we need one, we're gonna have to get one, so I don't know that answer yet. Once we start testing, we can tell better.
Okay, one more question. I don't know if Tony has an answer to this one, but so what is the power source for the sirens?
Oh, it's doubled. It has,
Redundant.
There's actually go ahead.
go ahead.
There's actually 2 power sources. It actually runs on hardline power, and then there's batteries, battery backup, and that's what we have to take care of. There's like 8 batteries that power those sirens, and so when the power goes down, then the batteries kick in, so they will go off still.
Did you have a question, Joy?
I just wanted to say that I know the ESD was very instrumental in getting the sirens at their present locations. And once the new fire station is built, I have every reason to believe there'll be probably a 3rd siren.
Ooh, that would be nice too. I still would like one further down that way, but it would be wonderful to have another one in the middle. Because that's a very good location to have one. And it would be closer to the road, to 80, so it will carry to those neighborhoods. Yeah. Thank you for that addition.
No,
any-
they told us that those sirens are 1.5-mile sirens, so the sound should travel 1.5-mile circle away from those sirens, if I remember correctly. No, I take that back. I'm sorry, 1/2-mile
Yes
siren.
and no. It might not. I remember now, Tommy, that we had a conversation after we finally got them fixed, and we at least had them go on that one time when they were testing them to make sure they were fixed. We ended up discussing whether it's 1.5 miles each one or 1.5 miles total.
It's 1.5 miles
it could-
total.
I think it's both together, because we're 2 miles, right? And so if it's 1.5 miles, it's not quite, that would make sense, that it's
Right.
not quite getting to everybody. So, yeah, we have to test that more. There's an old map that has a little circle around where supposedly the sound goes. But I don't have a lot of confidence in it, because it's so old that I don't know if it's real, or I don't know if it's accurate for what's happening or not. But yeah, I think it's it's 1.5 miles total. So we do need to add more. Any others for Tommy, so we can let him go back to training?
I have one other quick.
Go right ahead.
Just one more question,
Yes, sir.
playing somebody else. Tommy, we have the two new gates at Morrison Creek because of the Gin Friend family passing away at Christmas a few years ago, got washed away there. Is the county exclusively involved in opening and closing those gates, or do you ever have any involvement in those Morrison Creek gates?
No, both of those gates, that low water crossing is solely in the county, and the county is responsible for those those gates.
Okay, thank you.
Others, questions?
Oh,
Comments?
wait, yeah, on that question, so he was saying they were gonna put one on one side of Skull, Bridge and the other, but isn't the other side in Guadalupe County?
No. So I'm putting, both of those are gonna be at the top of our Y, so they'll be on Northwest River Road.
Oh, I get it now, because we have two ways to go in Skull.
Yes, and because the
Now I-
ETJ are humans, but not Guadalupe County. Yeah, we'll have to work with them and see if we can get that side closed off as well, because no one needs to be going across it.
Correct.
Anything else, Tommy? Anything else?
That was
people?
all, and hopefully I'll have some more information on the sirens come after Friday
Yeah.
when they tell us the thing.
Yeah, I think we will, because it looks like it on the agenda.
Okay.
And they're spending an inordinate amount of time on Friday. It's like an all-day workshop. And they're spending a very long time explaining how to write the message, the emergency message, how to phrase it just so. And so you will have no doubt when it's time, because you will get a perfectly worded presentation.
Get out, get out, yeah, good enough,
Get out and go now.
get out, go.
All right, anything else? All right, Tommy, thank you so much for making time
Thank
for
you,
us,
Chief.
even though you're in the middle of a meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Bye, see you
Bye.
later. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so let me get these out, and if you guys just wanna work together with people, I don't care like how we get it done. But these are just our little ETJ and city maps, and I tried to make it as big as I could on one sheet of paper, but not cut anything off. But, if you wanna just focus on whatever area you know best, like you probably know the area over here, so just like wherever you wanna do. If you can tell us, where does it flood? What are your primary problem areas in the city that you're aware of?
When you say flood, what are you specifically asking for, like if it,
If there's
water
water
on
on
the
the road, yes.
Okay.
If there is water on the road, if there are culvert issues with drainage, if you're dealing with houses that are taking in water, just any of the problem areas that you are aware of. And
thank you.
if anybody here has not been here when it's flooded, will you just partner with somebody who has been here, because you'll learn a lot? Mr. Sam?
Well, I'm gonna sit and listen, but I could use a map too.
No, sorry. I'm just kidding.
Do you have another? Oh, no, here, I.
Well, we don't need to.
Okay. Thank you. And I have an extra copy here. I've got an extra copy too. Okay. I'll just briefly talk about flooding because I've been through a few of them. I've been through the 98 flood and the 2 of the 2015 floods. It was a unique situation in that, as Stephanie mentioned, Southeast River Road, say, got inundated and flooded completely. I own that piece of land right there before you get to Bella Vista, and my 2 renters had to be evacuated by a helicopter. Sean bought his house here in 2015, I think, right after the first flood, and he experienced not only water coming from the river, but the water you experienced it coming from the field.
From the backside.
From the backside. And yeah, the water didn't come up from this side across Main Street, but we did get a lot of flooding. And the thing is that we got one culvert on 80 at 1979. There's another culvert at Quail Run, which we recently expanded into a bigger culvert and are running that water down Quail Run into the river. But also we have the creek that's right there at 1979, and so it floods behind 1979 and goes into the Mike Holmes' quarry pit there. And because the quarry pit becomes full of water, and then it comes out of there and then gets on Southeast Road. But as Joel Hoffman's son has shown me pictures from 2015, that Southeast River Road was flooded from where 1979 is all the way down to
Can't really tell.
past Bella Vista.
Right.
There's that low water crossing, that creek where the family passed.
At Morrison Creek there, yes. So we get a lot of water that comes from Morrison Creek, but we get it from the river, and then there's a thing called the Martindale diversion, where the river basically almost splits, like right down by Southeast Road, and then it splits. And, I mean, do you have anything else to add about it? Except your flooding was from the field.
So, yeah, I mean, I just feel like there's different categories of flooding and, you know, we're marking like an 100-year event or a 10-year event, because there's some places that will flood in a 10-year event. Some places that only flood in like a 100-year event. You know, I mean, there's just different categories of flooding. And then what we're talking about, yes, there's runoff water flooding, and that like is happening in their backyard. And then when the runoff water flooding and the river water flooding combine, then you have something really special that happens.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to like mark that on a map. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure how to like be like, well, you see.
You could mark it and put like a 10 or 100 or a 50 next to it. And then,
Okay, yeah.
you know, that might be an easier way to differentiate.
And I wasn't here, but Irma Garcia's brother, Jose, I think is his name, that lives right here on 79, he said something interesting that in the I don't know if this is all true, but in the 98 flood, there was more accumulated water that did not reach his house that year. But in the 2015 flood, when there was less less rainfall, maybe, I don't know exactly what he means by less, it did get into his house, and they're right there on 1979.
Yes.
And I remember seeing a picture, of the town sign as you come in right there, and I remember the water was all the way up to the words right there on the town sign, right?
And that's like at school, where the dip is, the water came all the way up to the stop sign on the top of the road. And then on Northwest River Road, water was gushing out of Lorraine's house, and water was gushing out of the pink house next to the Divini's, gushing out of the front door. And, so.
That is
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
So that's just right here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Oh, what? Yes.
Anyway, that was the, worst one I've been through. And most of that was from it was like 40 feet of water from Blanco.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I had water that got to my steps, and not that far from getting into my house. We never had water that high. And, that's from the excess rainfall up in the hill country.
Yeah, that was like a perfect storm of bad things that all happened at one time. Joy, what were you gonna
I was just gonna say that the 2015 floods were solely due to Blanco River.
Well, all the floods down here do like.
Well, the 98 flood was not. It was mostly, Guadalupe River and San Marcos River, because it was all raining. San Marcos got 25 inches of rain in 24 hours. So it was kind of localized.
What I've learned from studying what happened in Kerr County is that the geology matters.
Yes.
And so if we have water coming from San Marcos versus coming from Wimberley, it's gonna come a lot faster because it's coming off of limestone, hills. So it's going into the river much faster versus if water is flowing into the San Marcos River, it's much flatter. And so the speed at which the water is hitting the river and then coming to us, so a flash flood coming from Blanco versus a flash flood coming from San Marcos, the one from Blanco is gonna hit us much faster.
Mhm.
I've got a little OCD because, there's a river in the backyard,
Mhm,
kind of freaking me out.
mhm.
Plus all the new development, all that new impervious cover and pavement and roads and rooftops and driveway, patios, pools, everything
Mhm.
is getting worse every year.
Okay,
Yep.
so on that topic, so the new subdivision that's going in, across from Skull.
Mhm.
So I know that in all the conversations, it was always that they're responsible for the runoff. They do, right, we've got bare soil with no vegetation and they chop down a bajillion trees. So we automatically have more flooding there now.
Mhm.
And I know that they were responsible for their runoff water and all the extra flooding that they have created, but I'm just curious as to what are they doing? Like, I know they're responsible for it, but like, I've never actually seen what are they doing? How are they taking care of this flood water that they created?
That is a question that, I was just talking today with Randy Bunker about, because he's a flood, whatever person. Nerd. Yes, there you go. Mhm. Floodplain administrator.
Yeah.
And, we were just talking about that today and looking at a lot of the maps and trying to figure out, I guess, kind of the intersection of what the city has the power to do in terms of, not just during the planning and zoning phase when things are approved or not approved, but then as they're implementing the projects, what do we have authority over? What do the people that are doing the changes have to do? And then what is in a gray zone somewhere in the middle that maybe legally we're not sure whose deal it is, And one of the issues has to do with the corner of that lot where they cleared it all out. And we just met, we've been meeting extensively, but we just met on Monday with the developers of Riverview, which is that subdivision. And they are not entirely sure what they're doing with it either. Their goal was to, do the half-acre lots. Right now, they've got it listed on Zillow and those kind of things for either a half-acre lot empty or a half-acre lot that they will build your house on. And they're trying to figure out where the right price is in terms of, because the property itself is worth a lot of money. And then if you have people pay a lot of money for the property, by the time you put a very nice house on it, is it gonna price itself out of something people are interested in purchasing? So they're kind of putting them both out there. They're gonna judge what to do with it, but then they're like, we don't really know, maybe we'll just do something else with it instead of that.
So then are they doing the infrastructure for flood mitigation and then offering them like, there's a ready to build on lot, everything's gonna be okay?
They are trying to do the mitigation of the flood stormwaters. And then what we're noticing is that, for example, where she was just talking about, they've done the under the ground culverts that they agreed to do, right? But then in terms of protecting where all that water is gonna run next, it doesn't go far enough. Like it kind of dead ends, and it's not going to prevent all of that water and dirt and everything else from flooding into the river where it doesn't need to go. But they've stopped off of their property. So what we're trying to now do is go back and go, okay, we're gonna have to have our engineers come out and look at it and figure out, is it going to be addressed by our second grant that we have the MIT mod grant that is gonna do that intersection. and it's gonna do that part of the road. So we need to have Turk and Freeland come out and look at where they stopped off on their stormwater drainage and what needs to happen next. Is that something we accommodate? Is that something we go back and force them to do? And what are our legal options if they don't want to? They have been really, really good about wanting to make sure that they're making our community happy. They were going to pave the road in front of there till I told them, no, wait, we already have money to do that part of the road. Do it that way. But there are people don't live that way. There are people just live in the middle. So, if it needs to be that they need to go back and fix that stormwater problem, I think they'll be willing to do that. But we're just doing all the fact finding right now and trying to figure out exactly, photograph it all, figure it out, try to figure out who needs to be accountable for that so that it doesn't just run into the river, because we don't want to make more problems than we already have.
It just seems like that's where it's gonna end up.
It does right now. I know initially the idea was it was going to be channeled through the new culverts that went down River Road, but that's not happening now, right? So now we have to figure out, okay, then where is it gonna go? Because initially that was the plan. So
That still ends up in the river as well.
it does.
Any which way,
Mhm.
you're sending it.
It does. However, they did have in the culvert system that they had designed, and I'm not a culvertarian. I cannot tell you.
I
like-
wasn't until,
I cannot tell you, but I do know part of their design was a cleaning process. I know it doesn't clean it, but there was a process to try to filter out some of that before it got back into the river. But I know that it's not gonna be clean, but they were trying to remediate some of that.
So-
Wait 1 second, let him
Go
get it.
ahead.
So are there detention ponds on that
That
property
was
at
my
all?
question.
No,
That's what I wanted to know.
no, there are not. No detention ponds. Mm-mm.
So I'm wondering, in this
Yes.
environmental magic that Sam has been working on and, whoever else has contributed, is it like a thing where we can require new subdivisions to put in detention ponds?
Yes,
Because
yeah,
I
we
don't
can.
want that in the river.
right.
Like.
Absolutely.
I want it to
All of
keep
the
it
ones
under
across
our property.
80, all of the new development across 80, they all have detention ponds as part of their development. And they're also required to do all the landscaping around the detentions.
They can
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do know that it is possible and that it is possible in Martindale city limits because they are doing that right now. I was not part of any of that city council at the time that subdivision was done. So I cannot tell you for sure how the negotiation played out or why there is not a detention pond required or why there's not things happening.
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering, because 10 years from now, you're maybe still here, but probably not. So then.
You think I'm gonna die?
No, I mean.
Oh, I'm gonna move to
Yeah.
the ETJ.
Yeah, no, I don't wanna you out.
Just kidding.
So then wouldn't that be something we would want to include in our environmental ordinance? Is keeping if you create a new subdivision, keep your water, contain your water instead of dumping it into a river. Because I didn't see that in the ordinance. So can we put it in there?
Yeah. The one thing about the Riverview subdivision, we knew that the water coming off from the fields of 80 was gonna go through that culvert at Quail Run, and we already have a lot of water coming through that culvert, and that's why we asked them to double size the size of that culvert on Northwest Road as it empties into the river. They also have a plan though, I think it's between lot 18 and 19, where they have drawn into the plan another drainage ditch that is gonna drain into that same ditch that's at Quail Run, but that's more so to accommodate the eventual commercial expansion that's gonna be between Highway 80 and those 25 lots. And so they plan to somehow accommodate the impervious cover and the runoff from that eventual commercial, buildings through another culvert, but you're right, it'll still be going through these drainage culverts into the main culvert that will then go into the river. And so that's why when we spoke to the subdivision folks, Lanzola on Monday, they do have a retention pond. And it looked odd though, because it was between the buildup of the parking lot and the businesses and Highway 80. The retention pond was in the front. But they said because of the way that area drains, that they wanted the retention pond in the front, but they would do it like bioswales and landscape it and make it look good.
Cause they're just catching the water off of 80 at that point.
They're catching the water from their development.
Yeah.
And I do know also that there is a group that purchased the land a while ago, but they're just now getting going on it, that they're going to put in a subdivision on 142, like behind Red Barn and across from the Baptist Church in that general area. And they have hired hydrologic engineers that are doing like 9 months of hydrologic studies before they ever even decide what that's gonna look like or how they're gonna structure it or where exactly the properties will sit and how to do all of that. So, cause I just touched base with them the other day and they said, oh, we're not ready yet. We're still studying the hydrological. So I was like, cool, just let me know.
You know, Bonnie said that, 30 years ago or something, the Army Corps of Engineers made a bunch of flood maps and elevation maps when there was this big thing about the dam. There was a lawsuit and they won. But anyway, so I'm just wondering, it's like, if there's sources of information that already exist, and we're trying to do flood planning right now, shouldn't we be tapping into this huge, I mean, they had to do a study of the whole area for the dam thing that was going on.
So immature.
Yeah.
Yes, we should. And that's kind of how this city seems to be operating right now, at least, probably not before. But like, if those studies exist, I have to wait till someone mentions them and then I go, oh, really? Let me write that down.
Let me dig that.
Yeah.
Boy, wouldn't that be nice to have right now?
Well, Bonnie
So-
says you definitely should be looking at it.
I would love to know where they are. I'll talk to Randy and see if he
Says
knows.
that You contact the Army Corps of Engineers.
She's like, Bonnie said they're in your left drawer at the desk, at the back. Contact the Army Corps and they have a record of it. that
And I
we
think
can
it's
just
South County.
check. Okay, I can do that.
That's my understanding of it.
Take a memo. Cool. I'm just kidding, just kidding. Y'all, I do wanna give you a couple of handouts. Wait, just take this before you go. Here, take this. I'm not really yelling. Here, cause you need them. They'll make your life better. Okay, so, y'all, what I'm passing out right now is, I don't know if you're familiar, these three are all the same. I'm gonna show you how to find that, other thing that I told you to sign up for the Warren Central Texas. But meanwhile, there's a second program that is called STEER, and she's gonna pass out the Spanish and the English versions of the
Both?
one page.
Okay.
Yeah, cause you don't know, they probably know people
You
they
wanna
can give
share
them
it?
to, and we
Right.
want information out to everyone.
I assumed.
And so, what it is it's called STEER, and it is a program through the state of
This
Texas.
is Spanish.
And it says, and if you go on there and you sign up from there, they will make sure that they get the information.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
They'll make sure that they get the information to the county, and then if we sign up as a city, they'll get the information to the city. So that if you have people that are elderly, if you have people with disabilities, if you have people that have mobility issues, that there is a note made and we know that those people are there. So if that applies to you, or if you know somebody that needs to sign up, you can go onto the Steer website and you can sign up for it. And then they make sure that the county gets it and the city gets it. Right now, I gave you the list of who everyone is in the counties in Texas that are part of Steer. And then on the other side of the page is all of the cities that are part of it, and you will know, we are not on there. But that's one of the things that I wanted to ask y'all about. Don't you think we should be on there?
Yes.
Like if there are people that have special needs that need
Yes.
Yes.
in the case of an emergency, right? So I'm gonna find out what all we have to do to be on that list so that we get that information as people sign up.
Yes.
I think that would help a lot. And just give people more peace of mind. So, let me really quick use Deanna's computer that I don't know how to use on the screen and show you where the thing is to sign up for the WARN.
I just Googled that.
You did, I did, but what about this? If I just go, nope, undo, run away. Oh, run away.
See, that's one.
Okay, now if I go control click. There, now how do I make this picture be on that screen?
Straight up.
Drag it
Yeah,
up.
that's what I struggled with when I was trying to help you with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Hit the X. Let me hit the X.
There, yeah.
Okay, so this is where it is, and if you go to local
Warren
communities, you can find Caldwell. And then, y'all, because that Caldwell County loves us, we're not their ETJ.
There we are.
We have Martindale right here, and so on Martindale, it tells you we're 2 square miles. Oh, yeah, I don't have to.
Oh, I love it. We're
I'm thrilled that we're on there.
There we are.
2 square miles.
They actually have us.
That's cool.
So, anyhow, you can sign up here on the thing that says get alerts. And it does it by your, cell phone number.
Warren Central
What are you
Texas
doing about the
.org.
volunteer break thing? That's what I wanted to do.
All right, well, that's what I'm about to say.
Okay.
And so, in my little giving you information thing, that's where Warren, Texas is. Then, blah, 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 blah. So some of the things that can be done, are, we need, I think, personally, I mean, you guys gotta remember in your head, there, right now, we have me, and I am 360,000 days a year, 251 hours a day, volunteer, right? And then we have 2 part-time, students in the master's degree program, and classes are about to start. That's it. That's all we've got. That's our staff. So what I would love is if we could get, it doesn't have to be you people just because you're sitting here, don't worry. But if we could get a volunteer committee that will work on this and help us pull it together. And I don't just mean, I mean the disaster, the emergency planning, but I also mean the things we can do, like working on the riparian zone and working on storm drainage, looking around to see what are we doing with the stormwater and what could we be doing that would divert it and make it better when we need to. When John Welch was talking, he was talking about the FEMA grants that we can do for mitigation projects. We have so many that need to be done here, from the roads that need drainage and the houses that need to be, like, there's so much, there's just so much, it's overwhelming. But it's also really important, and it's not the kind of thing that the 3 of us can manage all of it. So, I would like very much to get a volunteer committee together. Not like a, like, oh, we have parks committee, we have river, I want the flood committee. I just want it to be a community group. Like, I don't want it, to have to bring everything to council and have open meetings and agendas and all that. You can have an agenda if you want. But I just want community volunteers, right? That want to really look at this stuff and are not confined to all of the administrative stuff. You can just do what needs to be done, get things planned, figure out what needs to happen, and then talk to us about it and let's get it done. So, if you are interested, it would just be, as far as I'm concerned, probably an ongoing committee, because there's gonna be always things to keep working on. But I feel like we haven't had that in a really long time, any awareness, any planning, anything. And it's gonna make a giant mess, and everyone's gonna be freaked out, and there's gonna be more property damage and lives in danger than needs to be. So if you all just talk amongst yourselves and then let me know if you're interested in working on that just as a community member, that would be wonderful. You don't have to decide tonight. Yes, ma'am.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's exactly what needs to happen. I do think that it's important that we have representatives from each neighborhood
Yes,
on that community, on that committee.
Yes.
So I think that involving somebody from Martindale Falls, somebody from the Bella Vista, Southeast River Road,
Yep.
people on Northwest River Road,
Absolutely.
someone in town.
Yep.
Like, and also,
Westridge.
and also too, I would suggest that potentially the business owners on Main Street, they might wanna have a representative on that as well. Because they will sort of
Yes.
affect it.
The people that did this, this WarrenCentralTexas.org presentation, when they rolled it out, they have an entire section of Warren Central Texas for business owners. Small business owners and entrepreneurs that have businesses in all of the little towns around. So, yeah, I think that would be an excellent way to get information to them too, about what they need to do in the event of emergencies. I wanted to, but we just can't stay here till midnight. I'm gonna show you this. I'm not gonna show you this, don't worry. I'm gonna just tell you about this. What I meant to say was, okay, I've lost the now, but don't worry about it. What I was going to show you this, so I just wanna show you what it looks like. I'm gonna just go ahead and post a link to it on the website. So if you're interested in it, you can look it up on the website and review it. It is, it was so funny that day. I had been mayor like 2 weeks, maybe a week. And they said, oh, there's this meeting about the study and it's about the upper San Marcos River. So I was like, oh God, floods, I gotta be there. So I went on it, I was the only participant.
Wow.
What?
I was the only participant. So, it was awesome and I got detailed information about Martindale. So I, had my little AI note taker turned on during this meeting. So I asked them, they're like, what kind of things should we be working on? Cause, if we go, oh, look, see, she can fix everything. See on it again. So, as you go down through here, okay, so as you go through here, it describes what they're doing and the fact that like there's really cool flood maps, but they have project 1, floodplain benching, where you, I don't know what. And so you do things and the guy has a really thick accent. So, my transcript was not as good as the summary was. So, he went through each one of these. Levies are an option, and they are doing these intense computer-based modeling, and they've got a lot of money from GLO to do this. They are scientists from UT and Texas A&M, and yeah, like they have a couple of different detention ponds. I kind of told them, I thought this one might be. No, the next one, the other one. There's 2 different detention pond models, and one of the detention ponds, I think, is on top of the SMART terminal. And I didn't comment, I just told them I'm not sure if you're aware of that project, but there is going to be a giant project there. And they were not, so I sent them the link to it, and hopefully they revised detention pond number one, because it would have drowned the whole thing. So,
We'd be all right with it.
I'm not saying, I didn't comment.
Yeah.
And then, as I've alluded to before, one of their suggestions was just buy out, like, I think it's over here it is, 50 to 100 structures that could be flooded in the event of a massive storm. And I told them that's been spectacularly unhelpful in the past. No one wants to sell, so don't bother with that one, because they wanna know. They're like, we have all this money, but which ones of these would you be interested in having us do? Because we're concentrating on where the Blanco and the San Marcos rivers come together. And what their idea is that they wanna be able to take most of the water that comes from a 50 or 100-year storm and do something with that water. Either put it into an enormous detention pond, bigger than my head, or buy people out. That was kind of, I think, we gave up, like, you know, if nothing else, if you don't like anything else, why don't we just buy people out and get them away? Or do the levies. So,
Okay, wait, but they're wanting to do this, you're saying where the two rivers come together, that's in the ETJ.
yes, because they're trying to get the water out in the event of that same kind of 2015 thing before it hits us. So if they can figure out what to do right where they come together, they can divert the water so that we get down to about a 25-year flood instead of 100 or a 50, which is a heck of a lot of water. That is a heck of a lot of water.
That's in Hayes County, Dallas, San Marcos. I don't know if it's in their city limits, but it is in their ETJ.
So then that, I guess that's what I'm just wondering, so how is it funded, is it funded by county, is it funded by just like, we're containing this water regardless of where it's located?
It's the BV,
Guadalupe Blanco River Authority.
GBRA, the Guadalupe Blanco River Authority
Okay.
is the group that has financed and is the home for this study. And they still have until next summer to continue working on this, but they really, really want feedback from the people that live and will be affected by it. And they would like to know, do we keep looking at like the levee concept? Or do we skip that? Do we keep looking at these giant detention ponds? What things would be more palatable to people? So I will put this on the website because it's already 8:15 at night. So I'll put it on the website where everybody who wants to can look at it and study it. And I will put my summary notes that my AI thing took so that you can read kind of what the discussion was about it. And if there's any blank spots, it's because he couldn't interpret the research. But he was really nice. He's a super smart man. I think my head was gonna explode. So I was just like, let me take it to my people. I don't know. I've been doing this a week. I don't know what anyone wants. So, just let that, we're talking about flood. I'm not gonna make the call for everyone. They need to make the call for themselves. So I will put all that up and you can like look through it and see what you think. And if you're interested in being part of an ongoing conversation or community group, autonomous from city council and whatever, please let me know. And please sign up for the CapCog notification system. And please also, if you know anyone that needs to sign up for the steer thing where we know that they need extra attention, please have them do that. And give me your maps before you leave. Did you already collect maps? No. Just
I put a few right over
Thank
there next to your city.
Yeah, if
Or
you
your
wrote
city.
anything down, please, give me those maps so that we can start looking at those, and I will make sure that they get passed to the committee too, whenever we get our committee.
Or if somebody wants to work on it later, like homework and bring it in.
Yeah, and just drop it off.
I think we have
Yep.
a homework person here that'll do it later. Can I ask you one question, Laura, about, I'm always wanting to have a floodplain administrator for our town. Do ask floodplain administrative questions currently? Like, we have someone on call, or do we go
We
through
have-
Veritas, or
We are
how are we working on that?
We are actually, sadly, or not sadly, we are piecemealing it. So if it's a floodplain administrator, that someone needs a permit for something, they wanna fix a house, they wanna build a house, they wanna whatever, that goes through our permitting company, Bureau of Veritas. We also have in other matters where maybe like it's Skull Crossing and we're trying just to figure out, the city owns the land and what do we need to do about flooding, or is it in the floodplain or whatever. Those questions go to Turk and Freeland.
Yeah.
And so, and now we also have our city planner, through our attorney firm. And that city planner has been so invaluable. She has been working with Hobby almost daily to help figure out all of those kinds of questions and make sure that we've got the right type of engineers and that all of the projects have the right individuals. But for emergency management planning, right, that's like a whole different beast.
That's the county and all.
And that's the county and Tommy and the fire department, like Sonia had pointed out. And so that's a whole nother level. And this committee will need to be able to reach out to each of those groups to figure out what do we need and how well are we coordinating and where are our weak parts? What do we need to strengthen to make sure that we're ready? Susan was just asking about a volunteer group that I didn't want to overwhelm people, but I will throw this out there because in addition to this community group, could be the same, could be different. We do need a group of people that will volunteer that in the moment when we actually have to do the siren, we need people that will be able to like report in immediately and start like checking houses and making sure that things are done, and somebody that will be checking off the names at the Green Church. And I know the library staff was amazing before and they will be amazing again. Fire department is, everybody is, but we still just need more people who can help us in that moment. So please, go through your mind and decide if that's something that you can do. Are you cut out for that? Are you not? That's fine, either way. But if we do have volunteers that are willing to be trained in the emergency response stuff, that is a program called CERT, C-E-R-T, and we do not currently have a group from Martindale that is trained in that, but they do have people in the county that are trained in it. So we can do that with a citizen group. So please also think about that. And then the last thing I want to do, already 8:20, is just to schedule a time to meet back. I want to build in some accountability so that we can get some of these committees going. You can decide if you want to be part of it. You can think about stuff that we haven't thought about yet and bring it back and say, wait, how are we going to get this? Wait a minute, we didn't even talk about that whole aspect. So, what do you think, like in a month?
Yeah,
Is that good enough? Like, I
I
don't
would
want
say
to
monthly,
yeah, a month.
monthly.
Okay, I'll set something up for a month from now and we will just touch base again and bring somebody with you next time.